Hello, my friends. I am here with you recording for the 50th time due to technical difficulties. I have recorded this so many times, and the last time it was a banger, y'all. It was a banger. You should have been there, but the microphone was muted. So here we are again. Ah, if nothing, I have been transparent and vulnerable with you all over the years, so that tradition continues. I am greeting you today virtually because we are on ceremony weekend. Yes, it is. I don't know how many at this point we've done with Sanctuary. It's the first one for the year. It's the third time that we have celebrated Courtney's birthday with our first group ceremony for the season, and that's pretty awesome. This service that you're a part of, if you're brand new here, this is like, I don't even know. I'm not going to do the math. 52 weeks times more than 5. We are over 5 years deep in consistent consecutive Sunday services. We have not missed one yet. And that's why I'm doing this virtually, because we didn't want to miss this one. Everybody, except for our amazing slide presenter, who is a part of the Sunday service happening, is on ceremony with us this weekend. So it felt really important to record a message just so that you know that we're thinking of you, and we just want to keep this thing going. And more ways than one. So I chose a really difficult reading today. There's no doubt about it. I did that on purpose because I know that you can handle it, and I want to push your boundaries a little bit. That's what the mushrooms do. That's what I tend to do after 27 years of eating mushrooms regularly. And I want to explore it with you just a little bit here. Before I do, though, I'm going to read a different version of the Tao. So the Tao is a treatise on paradox, and this whole conversation around source is paradoxical, to say the least. So this is from Stephen Mitchell, verse 16 again. Empty your mind of all thoughts. Let your heart be at peace. Watch the turmoil of beings, but contemplate their return. If that doesn't sound like space holding, I don't know what does. Each separate being in the universe returns to the common source. Returning to the source is serenity. If you don't realize the source, you stumble in confusion and sorrow. When you realize where you come from, you naturally become tolerant, amused, kind-hearted as a grandmother, dignified as a king. Immersed in the wonder of the Tao, you can deal with whatever life brings you. And when death comes, you are ready. All right, so if you don't return to source, you stumble in confusion and sorrow. And then our reading, very paradoxical, as it says, even almost heretical, basically says that we are to deny the existence of God. By avoiding studying the true nature of the divine, the concept of God has diminished. Now, what does that even mean, the true nature of God? It goes on to say that this denial of the existence of God is the return to the source of all being, the essential vibrancy of all existence, and that this requires exquisite insight. Imagine an oak tree. Big, majestic, beautiful, huge canopy. Right now the leaves are budding again and beginning to refreshen the air. And the animals play around it. Chanterelle mushrooms maybe grow at its roots mycorrhizally. And in the fall, it sends out thousands upon thousands of acorns. And those acorns then bring forth other oak trees. Now, the oak tree is not the acorn, and the acorn is not the oak tree. And this is similar to how I understand and interpret this returning to source that the Kabbalah teaches of. For a long time, I had I now believe, mistaken understanding that all of the universe, that God is all of the universe, that God is consciousness. And after reading this Tao Verse, as I have been since I was 19 years old, reading this book over and over, continuing to glean value from it, as I was reading this Tao Verse, and then went to this reading that matched this verse, I found myself realizing that I think I've had it all wrong. That God isn't the universe. That God is not existence. That this ineffable that we call source or God or creator or whatever is beyond the universe. That it is beyond existence. And that like the oak tree is not the acorn, that somehow all of this is not God. And yet, God is in all of it, just like the acorn. When the oak tree was a seedling, many years before becoming a fruit-bearing tree, the acorns were still in there somehow. They were encoded into its genes, if we need to look at it that way. And the Big Bang is like the acorn. It's not God. And yet somehow the seeds of God are in the universe. And what I would like to propose is the possibility that the seeds of God are us. That you as a human being are an embodiment of this ineffable mystery. And while you cannot see the God in you, or necessarily in others, we can experience it through what we share. Through our hearts, through our intentions, through our attention. It's a deep, deep mystery. And the Kabbalah says that we should seek it out every day. And I would agree that we should do our best to seek it out every day. You know, we're seeing significant progress on a national level in terms of psychedelics. As I record this message yesterday, he who shall not be named, for good reason, made cannabis Schedule 3. And a few days before that, signed an executive order to open up access to studying psychedelics. And that once a certain amount of evidence is visible, then psilocybin and iboga and other plant-based psychedelics will become Schedule 3 as well. Now, I am not a political person, and I'm not here to be political. But I am here to celebrate this little win. It is not the finish line. It is not the end point. There is so much more to go. There's so much further to go. Having been arrested myself and knowing people who are sitting in jail right now, I know a veteran who is sitting in jail right now because he was found with cannabis and psilocybin. It is not over. But we've been given a little leverage point. And I want us all to just take a breath and realize that. And then remember that being a part of this community is helping to move the needle just as fast, if not faster, than legislation and research. The research is showing what we already know, that these mushrooms are profoundly effective in improving the quality of people's lives. And the reason they are is not because of some neurochemical response. That is a downstream effect of someone encountering the mystery, connecting back to source, the ineffable. And that we know, we can know that because similar to, without getting too nerded out here on you, our physiology, we know that our synapses happen before the physical movements that we decide. If we decide, like I'm moving my hand, before I decided to move my hand, that synapses is firing beforehand. There is a consciousness even behind the physical synapses that we are witnessing that then lead to the physical changes. This is going back to source. This is the ineffable. This is the Big Bang that is not the universe, or it's not the Big Bang. See how easy it is? This is the thing that is before the Big Bang. And that is source as best as we can grasp it. Is there something beyond that? Probably. But the reality is, what we are doing here, connecting people back to source through working with the mushroom and through encountering their fellow human beings who are on a similar journey of growth and healing, a similar place in their consciousness awareness, we are bringing into creation a new world. We are playing God's role. God is working through us. It is unfathomable. And just like I could have never imagined what Psanctuary would be 5 years ago when we started it, 10 years ago when we were running retreats, we cannot fathom what Psanctuary is going to look like in 5 years from now. But what we can guarantee is that if we continue to show up in service to each other and our community, that it will be more beautiful than we could imagine. I like to think that this universe is more beautiful than the creator of it imagined. And I think that seems very likely. You dig down into the minutiae of existence and see how exquisite it is. And you behold the stars and the vastness of space, or look out over a mountain range. It is exquisite. And when we look into the eyes of each other, when we show up in community and service to each other, it is exquisite. And that is how we chase away our depression and anxiety. Mushrooms connect us to each other and to our source, and that is their healing power. Don't be mistaken that it's some neurochemical, quantifiable laboratory response. Those things are real, but the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. This is a law. This is something that we know. And we here represent a piece of that whole. Can you imagine what our community can look like in 5 years from now if we continue to put forth the energy and the effort and come together? These donation-based ceremonies that we're having, all of these people that are down here on retreat with us this weekend, there are some people that could not afford to put any money into it. We have people that drove in from Maine and New York and all around the country. We always do. Because that is way more accessible and way more meaningful than sitting in some clinic, than going to some far-off retreat center, connecting with people that you might stay in touch with for 3 or 4 months afterwards. When we've got a family of people here for years now. Some of you, years. That's amazing. And it would not happen without you. I could show up every day and talking to the camera, and it wouldn't matter if I did, if nobody else was on the other side. We could hold ceremony and eat mushrooms by ourselves, and if people didn't show up together, then it wouldn't matter. Not as much anyway. Psanctuary is you. And so as I've sat with this pondering of what God is and what this ride is that we're on, what Psanctuary is, it's really had me considering very deeply not just my role in it, but the extremely important role that everyone else that is here plays in Psanctuary. I'm not Psanctuary. Courtney is not Psanctuary. That's sometimes how it seems to people. We know that. It's not the case. You are Psanctuary. And you are beautiful. And I want to thank you for being Psanctuary. And I want to let you know that Psanctuary has been on a bit of a roller coaster here lately. I've had to do some really deep introspection just like I said, Sanctuary is not what it was when it started. You all have helped to evolve that vision. When we started Sanctuary, I thought I was a business owner previously and never run a nonprofit. And so I started running a nonprofit like it was a business and still trying to create free, accessible ceremonies, donation-based ceremonies, no cost sacrament. That is still an incredible part of my motivation and drive, and it is necessary. These gifts of nature are truly that, gifts of nature, and it is a blessing to hold space for other people. But it does require money to keep the things going. And something I've considered in my relationship with money is how I have, following my religious trauma from the past, thought that money was the root of all evil, and it's not. It's the obsession with it. It's the love and adoration of money that is the root of all evil, so to speak. Money is a display of love, actually. We spend money on things that we love. We may not realize that. You may not love taxes, but I bet you love roads. And, again, not to get onto some big political conversation, but if you search it in your heart, really, we see that where we spend our money is on the things that we care about. Children, our pets, our health, having a little fun every now and then, our community. And for those of you who have been donating to Sanctuary, I cannot thank you enough, sincerely. I have really had some long talks with God about money in the last few weeks, and I have had such a resentment towards money. And when I really look at it, that ultimately comes down to a resentment of the people with the money, which even means myself. So I want to sincerely apologize, even though you may not have known that I've had that perspective, or you may not have felt that I have resented a person. And I can't say that I have actively resented the donors, but there's a deep subconscious reality here that I've had to vulnerably explore in myself. And I've come to realize that I am so grateful. I am so grateful for the donations that come into Sanctuary, because it would not happen without them. And it's taken a real mind shift. I've had some really messed up thinking around money, because that's how love was shown to me as a child, is that money was given to show love. And as I look back at it now, maybe my parents loved me more than I really thought that they did at the time, because especially my father, that's where you put money, is into the things that you love. And so with Sanctuary having this revelation and realization, we have developed a few new membership tiers, because I know that there are actually members who really want to give more and they haven't known how. And that has touched my heart, and it's been very humbling. And so for those of you who do want to give more, then that is available to you on the membership page. We have established that if we can have, there's multiple ways of looking at this, but if we have 100 members donating $100 a month, which is doable. I know that's doable. It's certainly worth $100 a month for me to see Sanctuary thrive and grow. Not just because it is my workplace, because I see the healing. I'm sitting here in the midst of a bunch of people right now who just received enormous healing, who drove from Maine to have access to this community. That's impressive. And so I know those people are out there. And if we have 100 members donating $100 a month, then that meets our monthly financial requirements. Similarly, if we had 300 members donating $35 a month, we could do that too. Now, we want to grow. We want to see Sanctuary thrive. Right now, we're at a ceremony space where it's not ours, and that's limiting. There are so many things in my vision and the vision of these members collectively that we want to see, and we can and will see with your help. It's an easy yes for me to consider something like that, $100 a month or 300 people at $35. Of course, there's that many people in the country that are willing to contribute and help grow this. Of course. Look at what we're doing. Look at what you're doing. You are shifting the landscape of psychedelic wellness in this country. We are reviving spirituality in an experiential way where people are getting to have contact with source and not some middle person in between telling them what that's supposed to look like, which is what most of us grew up with. So my message has gotten too long. There'll be more messaging coming out over the weeks. This is something that we're going to be really driving home to our membership. If you can't do $100 a month, which is understandable for lots of us, then share Psanctuary out. Tell people about it. There are other membership tiers, $50 a month, $75 a month. There's higher, $150 a month. Whatever you can do is going to be enormously appreciated, and it's going to help sustain and grow this community. Vision it with me 5 years from now when we have 5,000 members, 10,000 members. It's not out of reach. There's a mushroom church in San Diego that's little more than a dispensary with 150,000 members. For us to have 10,000 members, that's easy. That's easy. All it takes is our love, our heart, our energy to bring into being what is invisible. You can feel it. I feel it. And I'm doubling down on my social media. And if you're able to do that, to spread the word for Psanctuary, then please do. We can bring God into existence. And then that becomes something that we can't even vision yet. But we are the seeds. We are the seeds of that future. I imagine a forest of sanctuarians. And how amazing is it going to be to look back on that and see that we were a part of that growth. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for your contributions, even if it's just energy and your attention. But we need money for Psanctuary to keep going. And thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, creation. I'll see you on the other side of the mushroom.